Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Alex Duggan. In behalf of Starboard Consulting, I want to thank you all for joining us for today's coffee chat. Just a few quick housekeeping notes. All audience members will be in listen-only mode, but we welcome and encourage and look forward to your questions throughout the chat. Just type them into the chat window and we'll get to as many as we can during the presentation. After the event, we will be following up with a copy of the recording and the slides, so we look forward to sharing that as well. Today, we are very excited to kick off part 2 of our 2-part Maximo Work Center series with the presentation on work management and configuration. Leading today's discussion is Lani Trotter, a functional analyst for Starboard Consulting with more than 25 years experience in the industry delivering real-world practical solutions. Lani, welcome. Thank you so much for leading us today.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. And next slide, Alex. Can we put a slide up? So what I'd like to do is just talk a little bit about Starboard here. My name is Lani Trotter. I'm a functional analyst with Starboard. I've been with them 8.5 years. And Starboard is a full service Maximo consultancy. We consult on asset management and reliability and the Maximo product, and in terms of configuration, design, training, and installation, configuration, all the technical stuff that we do for in Maximo. We are only a Maximo focused consulting company. And today with me for the coffee chat, I have with me, and I'm absolutely honored to have with me on this chat, the famous Pam Denny, the IBM Maximo guru. I'm just in awe to be in her presence, and we're just so thrilled to have her on our Starboard team.
Lani, thank you so much. And I'm just so grateful to be part of the Starboard team today. I'm really excited and really looking forward to learning with great people like you. So let's start today's coffee chat out with a poll. Alex, could you bring up our poll today, our first poll question? Excellent. So our first poll,
yeah.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
So the poll, go ahead, Pam.
I was going to say our first poll question that we're going to ask people is, if you are using work centers, which work centers are most frequently being used by your organization? It looks like we're seeing some great results here, Lani.
We are. Yes, those results look great.
Give it just another few seconds. The poll's in your chat window if you want to reply. Looks like definitely some opportunity to employ work centers. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. If you didn't get a chance to answer or are using something other than what the questions are, please, we'd love to hear from you in the chat window. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. So Pam, in our last coffee chat, Amy Tatum and I discussed and introduced and showed how work centers can be built. I mean, the work center for inspections, how you can build forms and deliver those to your field workers and have them capture data in the field. What are we going to cover today about work centers?
Yeah, great question, Lani. And that was such a great session that you guys did on inspection. And if we can bring up the first poll, I want to highlight that we're going to talk more about the work management work centers today. So basically, there are 12 work centers. If you're not familiar with work centers enable us those role-focused view of Maximo. Our role-focused view of Maximo is that simplified aspect. So if I'm a supervisor, for example, I don't have to navigate between work orders and assets and locations and job plans. I get all the information I need in a single view. And also our work centers are a very, very important part of Maximo's mobile portfolio. They enable the simplified view in a connected mode, and they display responsively, whether we're in a desktop, laptop, smartphone, or tablet. So what we're going to, again, focus on today is our work management work centers.
Awesome. Yes, I just love the way that the work centers display on the screen, on any screen that you're using, how you can clearly see the things that are important to you and your role. And so we are going to talk about the three work focused ones: service requester, work supervisor, and work technician. So this slide that you're seeing here, it does show the highlights of the other 12 different work centers. Let's change to the next slide, Alex, and it's going to show us a little bit deeper into the work management cycle. So it highlights where work begins with a service request, and you might consider a scenario. You have a person who has a problem, they need to report for it to be repaired or addressed, and they have a problem, so they have an entry point. They have a service request to enter that. Might be heating or lighting in a building or something. So you can see that on the left. So then it flows. A work order would get created from the service request for the supervisor to review and approve and assign. So this is all done with his panel. You can see 4 columns there. Those are all the different work orders that are in different varying statuses in the progress of the work, and he could just move those right along into their next status. Then the work, once it's delivered to the technician, again, a very focused view of what I need to do today, the things that are most important, and basically my list of things to do and that need to be done. Those could include pictures and attachments and details of the asset and location, and any comments that I need to know about the work itself. And once I complete my work, then I can actually denote that my part is complete. And all along the process, the supervisor can be monitoring this progress to see that the work is complete, review the details that I've inputted as the work technician, and then close out the work order. And once this work is complete, that is reflected in the in the requester. The original requester could then look at their service request and see, oh, the one that I put in about that light bulb, well, it's been completed. So then that is just completely closes the loop on that service request and work that was performed.
Lani, that's great. And I love how you've shown how each one of these service requests and the work technician and the work supervisor, all these work management work centers interact with each other. Can you show us a little bit about the service request work center?
Yes, the service request work center is intended for anyone. I mean, anybody can use it. They don't have to have a Maximo user account or license. The idea is to have it be a self-service entry point for these problems so that we can get them into the work management flow. Again, it could be a facility problem or anything that the public even might see out in the field. So when you enter this, you see a menu of different pictures of things and categories of problems. And you can also search for something that you're looking for. In this case, I'm submitting a service request because I have a lighting problem. And these questions are asked of me, what is wrong with lighting? And I can continue to put my contact number in here, or contact information. I can take a photo and attach it to this service request. And then I can even tell a more specific location of where it is. In the view here, you're going to get a list of top-level sites, but I know what the name of my location is, so I'm going to type in Los Angeles, and then I get a pic that matches my location. If I know something about the asset, I can enter it, but in this case I don't. I'm just going to say that the foyer has got some lights blinking and I don't understand why, and it's in the Los Angeles domicile terminal. Try to get somebody out there to fix it. And I'm giving here my telling my story about what is happening from my perspective as the requester. So once I say next here, I can say high priority, and then I can submit. And it's that quick to enter my service request, and I can see all the requests that I have entered here in my work center, and there's my lighting one that I just submitted, and I can mark, and I'm not marked, but I can add comments to this if something else happens in the future. or I want to add, I can see the details of it by clicking on the card itself, and all the work centers flow like this. And then here's, I can enter an updated comment. I can say, okay, now they're not flickering, they're all completely out, or something along that line. And I can see the history of the comments there in the upper right-hand corner. So this is the self-service service requester work center in all its glory.
Wow, that was great, Lani. It looks so nice and easy to use. That's super. Now, can you tell me if I can configure that service request work center?
Yes, so that's one of the most powerful tools that Maximo has. Is those of you who use Maximo know it is a configuration platform, and it does have those abilities. And in the service request, it's as simple as creating a classification for the service request. So SR needs a classification, different ones that match your categories, and then you use the ticket template application in Maximo to associate those problems, which is your categories, with the ticket template, so that you saw those questions that was asked of me when I asked for lighting problems. It said, well, what are the problems? So those are going to be your different choices that are displayed to the user: too hot, too cold, no lights. And that is the that's what's presented. That's how the configuration manifests itself to the user.
Wow, that's really great, Lani. And that sounds like a great topic for our next coffee chat. How to configure
being able to configure, yes.
Exactly. Well, thank you. Alex, would you be able to bring up the next slide, please?
Sure thing.
So as we've been talking about configuration of the SR work centers, we also want to highlight some configuration capabilities of the other two work management work centers that we highlighted today: Work Technician and Work Supervisor. So this is a new feature that was recently introduced in Maximo 7611. So basically the concept is I can look at a work center shown over here in the top as I run it in what we call view mode, but if I have security privileges, I can put it in design mode. And then once a work center is in design mode, I have the ability to make some changes. I can change the query, I can add a field, I can change a label, many features that are, again, available to me for my work supervisor and work technician work center to configure it for my unique needs. So could we run the demo to show how this actually looks? So we're going to show you a video demonstration of how we can configure one of the work centers. Excellent.
Should be showing.
Should be the next video, though. Video 2.
Video 2.
Yeah.
It's coming. Looks like our videos need some more coffee.
Oh, it should be showing on the screen. Describe the issue.
It's the first. That's the first. We needed the second video.
Oh,
it's okay.
No worries. We'll get there. So it's a great video. So hang on while it comes up.
It was so good. I wanted to see it again.
All right, so what we're doing now here is we've brought the work supervisor work center into a configuration mode. You might have noticed there was a design mode up top. Excuse me, I should say this is a work technician work center. So I have the privileges to make some changes. This is the card where I see details on my individual records. And notice the card displays up top. And if I want to change the label of a field, I simply change the label to something that might be more applicable to my users, and it's automatically updated. The other thing I can do is I can change a field value. So in this case, we're going to look for a different field value. We're going to look for a target and bring in our target completion date. Simple drag and drop. How beautiful is that? And now all of a sudden we've replaced that field value again with something that might be more applicable in our unique situation. We're going to also change that label, click OK, have this all refresh, and now we're going to save that. And while we're here, we're also going to change our labels that are shown on the top banner. We're going to change the word from work execution to work technician. and then make that available. We're going to save that, and again, immediately see how that displays. After you've made your configuration changes, you have the ability to save it or to publish it. Once we publish it, it is live to our users, and we're going to see the label right immediately show to you, and we can also add some text comments to note what those changes are. So we're going to go ahead and publish that. And wow, in just a matter of minutes, we've really quickly configured the Work Technician Work Center. And again, that's available for the Work Center, or excuse me, the Work Supervisor also.
And Pam, remind me, what version of Maximo is that new configuration tool available in the work centers?
So that's in our most recent release. Prior to this, 7611 is when it became available. We just released Maximo 7612 last week.
Right. Yes, and I've really been enjoying using the new tool. I think it's definitely an entry point into, you can see the possibilities for future enhancements of the tool, but it is that first blush at what the possibilities might be. I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. Awesome. So Lani, a lot of time when I hear clients talking about configuration, I also hear the term customization. And there's, I think, a very important difference between those two. Could you explain the difference between configuration and customization for us?
There certainly is, Pam, and it is something that we try to keep very distinct. So when we talk about configuration, or when a client says, I want to change something about my Maximo, there's some things it does that I would like it to do a little differently, or I want it to look differently, then we call those things configurations, because Maximo, the Maximo platform provides tools, built-in administrative tools in the platform for us consultants to get in there and actually make those changes, and have even put business rules in, even put automation in, using those tools that are built into Maximo. So that's what we call configurations, when you're using the sets of tools that are provided by the IBM platform to do that. Now, when you start talking about the word customization, that's a whole different category. So that would be more of a code developer getting into the Maximo business logic and altering that code so that actually the core Maximo is behaving differently than it would as delivered. And so we like to keep that distinction. Configuration is when we can use the tool sets to build and do things that, and there are a lot of them, a lot of things you can do with configurations. And then customization being, no, we're going to actually alter the code and basically modify Maximo's core business logic.
That's a really important difference. So Lani, is there one that Starboard recommends over another, customization versus configuration?
Well, we absolutely recommend the configuration as the very first choice, and customization really as a last resort. And the reason being is just pain for the client down the road. We can't, IBM cannot guarantee that any customizing you do with the code Maximo is going to come along with an upgrade, or there may be even an iFix later that comes along that does exactly what your customization did, and then you've got to go undo what you have, and then to adopt the new function there that IBM has delivered. So we do discourage customization, but there's sometimes it does happen.
Yeah, excellent point, Lani. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, we covered quite a bit today. We talked about the work management work centers. Lani, you highlighted a great demonstration of Service Request Work Center, and you told us how we could customize it with, I should say, not customize, how we could configure it, right? How
Exactly.
we could, exactly, I got to get those words right. How we can configure it with our classifications and ticket templates. And then we started talking about configuration of two new work centers, or relatively new work centers, the Work Technician and Supervisor.
Right.
And within a matter of minutes, we put them in design mode, and we changed a couple fields, changed a couple labels, and made some real simple changes, again, to really reflect what an individual customer would need.
Exactly.
It was really nice. Yeah.
We did. Yeah, we did. It was we'd love some questions from the audience. This is a big topic, and I know that there's different applications for these work centers and how they're used out there. We'd love some questions or comments from the audience. Alex, do we have any questions?
We have a couple of questions. One I know we'd gotten offline was about the Work Center preview site. Where can they learn more about work centers?
Oh, absolutely. So the Maximo 7611 preview site. So if you search on Google Maximo 7611 preview, there'll be a link there to the preview site that IBM delivers. It'll give you a login that you can log into Core Maximo 7611 as well as logins for each of the role-based work centers. So that you can visualize them yourself and interact with them yourself as well. So that they're out there and ready to try.
And Lani, with that in mind, what happens if I go to the work technician or the work supervisor, work center, and I don't see that design button? Is there something that needs to be enabled there?
That's right. So naturally, you don't want everybody tinkering with the design of a work center card or anything else. So there definitely is a signature option that's available in Signature Security or Security Group that you enable for the group that you want and the members that you want to be able to enter that design mode. And then that button, that design button pencil, will show up for that user when they log in.
Excellent.
Okay. What else do we have, Alex?
We do have a couple questions. One is user has recently upgraded to 7611 and wanted to know about if there's a work center guide, an implementation guide available.
So I think one of the best things to do is to utilize IBM's Knowledge Center. The Knowledge Center has a lot of information on the various, not only core Maximo applications, but also the work centers themselves. And I also know that there's a number of really nice work center videos. There's a great inspection video and even an inspection video that talks about using voice to text and text to voice, using Watson services. So, I always say the best way to find any information is through Google.
Yep.
If you Google Maximo Work Centers, it's going to bring you both to those YouTube sites, both to the Knowledge Center where you can get additional information. And as Lani said, I always think the best thing to do is to try it, right? Access the preview site, bring up the service request work center, give it a go, see what you like, see what what you have to get used to. But it's a great way to just give it a try.
It is, and I would definitely search YouTube, the YouTube channels. There's quite a few videos on YouTube that discuss the structure of the work centers as well as the setup. It's a very small setup, really involved. They're already out of the box ready. The only idea is that you just have to create a security group and apply the security templates to that group that enable the work center to be accessed. So, and there's specific instructions there on the Knowledge Center and on the YouTube channel for IBM. So, yeah, we highly recommend all those searches.
Great. Lani, Pam, there's another question going to the user experience. Are there a certain number of fields that are locked into the card? Can you configure the cards to be bigger or more information to fit into the view?
So, Pam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that at this time, there are 8 fields total available on the card, and 2 of them happen to be like a bigger, sort of a larger presence. They have a larger presence on the card, and then the other ones are smaller, but I think 8 is the number. Is that correct?
So that's on the work technician, right? So
Technician,
to whatever,
yes.
yeah. So whatever number of fields in work technician, those are set. So if there is 8, you can't add a number 9 or a number 10. So you're locked to those 2. And also on the positioning, the positioning is going to be responsive, right? So if I'm looking at those cards on a phone, it's going to be very different if I'm looking at that card on a desktop or a tablet. So there is that whole responsive design that's in place with the work center, but you don't have the ability to take a card and make it 20 inches wide or something like that. They're set
Right.
to be responsive.
Right.
Good questions. Wow.
Those are great questions. What else do we have, Alex? Any others?
Yes, thank you. We have I know we have just a couple minutes left if anyone has any last questions to get them in, but I've seen a couple of questions about Maximo's app designer and wondered if you can talk about that as part of the work center configuration.
Yeah, so great question, because folks of us who have been working with Maximo a long time, our inclination is to go to App Designer to either clone an application and make it look the way we want, or make the one we do have look differently. And so that is the tool of choice maybe so far in our experience. But App Designer is specifically designed for the core Maximo applications, and the work centers are built on a different kind of platform, and they do not interact with App Designer. So any configurations that will be done in work centers will be available in the method that we showed you earlier. And my understanding is there is a sort of a roadmap for introducing additional configuration features, right, Pam?
Yeah, correct, Lani. So the configuration features that are available today in App Designer took years and years to build up, right? So that's the whole premise of the Work Centers. The premise of the Work Center is to enable configuration features that will build up over time and may be slightly different as IBM moves forward with the Work Centers in the way that they're enabled now to give us the most flexibility and depth. But that is definitely on the roadmap. And if you've seen the Maximo roadmap, I know Kim Woodbury and Dave Gazia did one a few weeks ago, really talks about how critical configuration of the work centers is. And we expect to see many more features in that in 2021.
Yeah, it's really become, a very popular mobility enabler. The work centers
Exactly.
very much enable that mobility of Maximo.
Yep, exactly.
Great. One last question. I know these are interesting times that we are all in right now. Travel is somewhat restricted state to state. Group outings or incoming building visitors are somewhat restricted. If somebody wanted to get some help with configuration or training, do you provide virtual options that you could speak to?
Oh, we absolutely do. And, thank the technology gods, right? Because we are in a year where those kinds of tools are readily available, and they're very slick and clear in terms of being able to we're chatting right now face to face, Pam and I, in
Yep.
2 different states, and still communicating very well, and still able to show each other things on the screen, and allow another person to interact with your screen. And so we can definitely teach, demonstrate, discuss, whiteboard. So all of those meeting technologies, and we're doing it every day with clients, with whether it be a training session or a workshop, even to discuss requirements and things of that nature. We're doing them all virtually now, and really kind of enjoying it, being almost more efficient because of the travel time and expense to do all that. But it's working out for us very, very well, and we'd love to do it for you.
Exactly.
Well, I see we are just right about time. For the audience, we are going to be sending out a poll. We would love to hear from you about what future Maximo topics you'd like to see presented in our 30-minute coffee chat series. I know we've gotten a lot of user questions and input, and we want to know what's on your mind. What would be most helpful right now? If you've missed any of our past series, that also is all available complimentary on the Starboard website. We'll send the link out following the presentation. Lani, Pam, great talk today. Thank you so much. You condensed a lot of information into just 30 minutes.
Thank
Great.
you, Alex, and thanks the audience
everyone.
for attending, and be sure to reach out anytime.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone. Thanks,
Thank
Lani.
you.
And thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.